really over. It's gone. Jujutsu Kaisen. Our Jujutsu Kaisen has ended. And let's talk about it. Yeah. Let's get into it. Listen. I don't have a lot of thoughts, honestly. I feel this ending is actually satisfying to me. I didn't think it was going to be. For a little bit, I thought I was hoping. I was like, it's gonna be alright, he knows what he's doing. I know he's gonna give us a satisfying conclusion. But truly, I kind of respect it. It is not the ending that I think a lot of people wanted for the series, but it is the best thematic ending for the series, and kind of giving it a lot of closure to everything. And it comes full circle, I would say. And I'm actually glad it is. I don't even think it's a bad ending. A lot of people have different opinions. This was just over, or it's not what I expected, or it's just disappointing, or anything like that. I don't think it deserves any type of criticism like that. Maybe if you didn't if you weren't really reading the series for the right reasons, I would say you're not really understanding the characters. I think this ending is definitely unsatisfying and underwhelming in some ways. For me, I feel like it fits a lot of its own philosophy into this. I think Gege Akutami really did an outstanding job, through the entirety of JJK, to be honest. Definitely some pitfalls, for sure, I would say I didn't like. But altogether, I think this is very cohesive. And I kind of love it. Just from, the onset. So, let's talk about the chapter, of course. Spoilers, if you're not caught up with you guys. It's the ending of the series, honestly. The last few chapters... last 3 or 4 chapters, people have talked about it as it's over, we gotta go back to the mundane. But I feel like JJ or Jujutsu Kaisen's return to source is a good thing, going back to those adventures where they just, him, Yuji, and Nobara are fighting curses, or returning to the cycle, but not in the same way that you really do. It's like when you're a person, you're doing something new for yourself, breaking a generational curse in some context. You're changing the way you think, and there's a lot of stigma around that. So I would say them fighting curses in the beginning of the series is different from what they fight now. There's a reason. Yuji's whole mindset has definitely changed from beginning to end. Even Shibuya, or even till his last arc, has truly. He was so wrapped up in finding a way to die properly from his grandfather. He kind of cemented himself in this own role and became this cog. But dying is possible, but it's only possible if you're living, if you truly live to the fullest. There is no such thing as a good death, basically. And that myth and illusion kind of gets shattered throughout the series, and it kind of forces him to change his perspective, with his friends, of course, getting almost killed, him himself dying, him fighting his greatest enemy, Sukuna, and his teacher Gojo dying. Those kind of warped mentality, but also made him hard on himself, So I think it came full circle with that in a lot of ways. And of course, Megumi and Nobara coming back is always amazing, because I didn't really want them to die, and I feel their characters still serve a purpose, and they really they really create a foundation for Yuji to springboard off. Those are his confidants. So without them, I don't think Jujutsu Kaisen would have a thematic closure. With both of them dying would be it'd feel incomplete. It'd feel why'd you do this, basically? These characters were here for a short time and they didn't really give us anything. And a lot of people complain no one died in the Shinjuku brawl, and I think that's the point. They weren't gonna. I don't think anyone was trying to die, basically. They were fighting for their life. The only reason they succeeded is because of the things that happened in the previous, Gojo basically weakening the enemy down to for them to have a chance to have a brighter future. Somebody giving up. That's another thing, the older generation not giving up and holding power, and really cementing the basically deterministically putting the younger generation down, or throwing them to the side and say we sacrifice the young for our own preservation. And that's another thing that's the theme of Jujutsu. That's one of the main themes of JJK. So when Gojo does die and people want him to come back, I'm no, he doesn't need to come back, really. I think he served his purpose in creating a future for these young people, and they will do the same for other people later down the line. Maybe the cycle of curses, because humanity itself is a curse. So there's no better reason. There's no stoppage to that whole curse line. There'll always be something evil, and there's not a progression of time. It's kind of the symbolic being AOT's ending a little bit. Not it is 1-to-1 for sure, But the reason why LT's ending is like interesting is because like, oh, we see the passage of time, like war is inevitable, like human nature is inevitable. JJK's kind of saying the same sentiment, like these things are a part of human nature. But that doesn't mean we give up the fight, doesn't mean we give up hope, doesn't mean we give up like being with each other and trying to foster a better future for each other, you know, regardless of what that means and how hard it is. It's like life is suffering, but what are we suffering for, you know? I think this ending kind of symbolically ties everything back together. Like even we talk about the main villains like Kenjaku, he wanted something he couldn't control, and that was the merger, right? That was like something so chaotic, but he still got what he wanted. He didn't get the merger, but he got something with Takaba that is interestingly important, you know, something that was new, that made him smile and really changed his perspective. He was just like, he was a case of humanity if they turned to like the most like, I guess hedonistic, but also like primitive desires. Like if I just got the mad scientist, if I just did everything I wanted, what would happen? Basically. So he sort for that, but also he also said like, Yuta would never be the next Gojo, and literally Yuta becomes like personification wise, and also literally becomes the next Gojo Satoru in his own age. Not one for one, but basically of the same nature, being the strongest in it, so no one's really combating him in that way. And it's interesting, like Kenjaku kind of dies, and you see Yuta almost taking a piece of Gojo in Kenjaku with like the stitched head. It's kind of fire. It's symbolic of a meaning. And then we have Sukuna, of course, the main villain of the series. Him getting like beaten not because he was weaker than anybody or he couldn't, but his own hubris to think that he couldn't be beaten, his own arrogance that he's like I don't need anybody. He threw away everybody, and you know he was beaten by everybody in a sense. So he got his own coming, just for, like people literally feeding him to his own narrative and like letting him believe that he was always right, and that led to his downfall almost. And in this last chapter, kind of like even says that like we hit a flashback of the basically Gojo talking to Yuji like, oh, I want you to be better than me, basically. And that was kind of hard. I really like that. Like, of course, I love Gojo, but also I love Yuji like a little bit more because he's just a standout protagonist, honestly. And I think this will go down as like, I don't care what people say, I think this will go down as like definitely a classic in a lot of people's like repertoire. This ending, because it's just different. Like it's not like I think a lot of endings are hard to write for sure, but this one feels like it fits for the series. Just like I don't say that My Hero was one of the bad. Just like I felt that was just a lot, but we're not talking about My Hero. I'm talking about JJK again. It's just interesting how like new age mangas decide to end their stories. But Sukuna talks to like him to Mahito again, which is crazy because you see Mahito, the first villain and the last villain, kind of meeting up at the end of this cursed realm, like what happens next between dream and reality mess. And Sukuna actually has a change of heart, you know, because he's all about winning. He's never really lost. Like losing is to die in his eyes. So him losing this fight against Yuji and like really makes him like thinking like there was always a path I could have traversed before. I didn't have to be this evil, strongest person. I could have went with like the one lady back in, I forgot her fucking name. I forget her name, but she was in the Culling Games. And then you have Urame. Either path could have been precisely what he given, but he was kind of like, I guess, stirred by his own self-interest basically, and he feared his own self, so he had to like basically destroy everything around him because nothing would connect in that way. He didn't want anything to get too close to his heart. But even he says that is crazy. It's like, you know, next time I'm gonna walk a different path. You know, perhaps I'll just walk a different way. I'll use a different way to live life. And then they talk about the last finger being used. Like, what did you do with the last finger? It's like, no, I think Sukuna will change it. Like Yuji did change his mind basically. Even at the end where Sukuna didn't want to be pitied or that, like he would walk in a different line of think he's not going to be accursed in the same way. And it's funny because he is still like, I guess, living in a certain, but like he's not living in the same like vicious, vicarious way he thought before. More of a healing way. He healed his greatest enemy. Like he brought his ally, like the shonen effect. Like he talked no jutsu, my boy. Which was a fire, but there's no like talk no jutsu. It's like just a realization of like life and understanding. And you know, for him, he had to be beaten, had to be killed almost. He wouldn't realize that through any other way. Everything else was frivolous and loveless. But he knew he had like everything. There's like a humanity to all of it. Like the curses aren't inhuman in that way. So it kind of symbolizes that. Even Mahito's like, what do you mean? Like this is so boring. It's kind of like the reader. Mahito's like the reader, basically. That's so boring. What are you talking about? That's stupid. Like why would you do that? And to a lot of fans, it's like a reflection. Like God damn it, like why am I still the same when I've seen everybody change and move forward and move on? Honestly, and then we see like the last shot of everybody being happy, and then like the shot of Sukuna, like, oh yeah, so Jujutsu Kaisen 2 or something. Like, no, I don't think there's no room for it to. There's no reason for it. Like, we get another Sukuna, it'll be the same kind of story. Why we don't need an extension to this. It is already over. It has ended. It has run its course. I think Giga is happy for what he did, and he really understands that. I think this series has a lot to offer. Just from like a perspective wise, like maybe there's some things that people don't like written, because this is really, I think this series did not hold your hand in a lot of ways. It didn't give you like the grace that a lot of other series like really try to do, and it just gives you like a boom, finish it, do it, and that can be hard for a lot of reasons. But also like the lack of context and lack of understanding could really contribute to like a greater misunderstanding of like the themes and what it's trying to present. It never said anything like overtly. It was never trying to be outstanding, but of course there are people that think it is like terrible, and that's from a matter of perspective. I don't think Ending has done anything wrong in his eyes, in my eyes, and that can be because I really love series. But like at the same time, I'd say like if it was that bad, or I really didn't enjoy it, or it was nothing like this, or like damn, this shit's fucking. Because I was feeling like this ending was gonna be oh damn, it's gonna be like it's gonna be like not as good as something else. But pleasantly surprised that it ended. Not only pleasantly surprised, I'm actually great. I feel like I knew it was going to end in this type of way, but I didn't want it to end a little bit, honestly. I thought I was gonna have one more good year or one more half year. But you know, also to talk about like the leaking community, I don't know why everybody's on leakers' dicks right now. It's kind of weird. Preferably, if you don't like leaks for sure, I understand. There's no shame in that. I don't like to be spoiled or leaked by anything, and definitely I do understand like some people just kind of like fucking spoiling like the manga prematurely to people who are anime fans or just random people in the internet. That's fucked up. I don't think that's really cool. But to say that, it's also to like acknowledge like there are people that the reason why leaks is because people want them. You know, there are people out there that really will search for them and will find them and will do anything they can. So there's no like problem with the leaking. It's just the way that people like think it's like a taboo. Like, okay, you guys are a little weird. Like, you don't have to search out leaks, and you could definitely block yourself. But like the way people like kind of, hey, get these guys, get them, get out. Hey, he's leaking manga. Like, preferably you're weird as fuck. I'm sorry, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's not that deep. Hey, listen, I don't want to be spoiled for sure, and the niggas do that shit, fuck you. But like, I'm not going on my way to fucking find every leak. Like, that's too much time, that's too much work. And also, no one was complaining when the leaks were coming out. Truly, everybody was kind of hyped, and you know, some of the leaker culture actually propelled JJK into like the more mainstream culture. Like, of course, Shibuya and everything like was always still airing, but like the major like 263 or 236. You telling me you weren't there? You telling me you didn't see that Gojo fight? Stop playing me, twin. Stop playing me, twin. You were there. You were looking at them leaks, even if you didn't want to. You're like, damn, this shit crazy. Or you were sad as fuck and really mad, irritated. It got you interested in the series. And I think a lot of people forget that a little bit, like how much, in a good way, it gave popularity, but also in a bad way, it gave like a negative. So like, what the fuck is this? It's like you see it, and also translations and misinterpretation happen. Some of the leaks and scans have been heavily botched. I would say, like, of course TCB and like the mainstream channels have been like kind of shitty, but also some of the leaks lack context, and people just look at the panels and like, this shit is ass. I'm like, did you even read before you even said that? It's like the lack of critical thinking and reading has also been like the reading comprehension level is real throughout like manga and media literacy as all, just to say that. But I don't think JJK is anything an exception to that. I think the series, I would say the series still like, I still give the series like an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for sure. I think I would heavily recommend this to anybody. But it's a shonen, but it has like I guess like its tone is like subject. Like for some reason I feel like it's very like, it can be very like sojo a little bit, like or josei really, like one, like both of those like a little bit in like their interpretation of like love, romance, and like just like general being character concepts. I think that he takes heavy influence from like, of course, Berserk and any other like social mangas out there. I can feel the influence. I don't read a lot of social, but maybe it's just me saying that out loud. I'm being facetious, but it does feel different than the contemporary like shonen formula. And I think he understands the reader and understands like what he wants to. It doesn't feel like there's an interpretation like the author would bend to like somebody's will, just like, and even his own editors, he kind of like just made the story because he wanted to, and like he understood like what the world needed, like almost a critique, of course, a critique of Japanese society, but also like societies around the world and how they function, because he's seen the basically like the underbelly in a way. So he's given like a perception and like a deep layered view of it to like the reader, of course, in the manga through the characters. So every character has a role and serves a purpose in a lot of ways. Even people don't think like, oh, the merger, things like that. I think some things were written in the story for like definitely like value. Like the merger is not like people wanted that. I was like, what is that narrative? Are people like arguing like Kashima versus Hikari? Why would something like it's the same fight over and over again? Like domain expansion pop, they fight, he gets healed, do the same thing, ice attack, he almost take lethal damage. What is that? That's not a fight. Like the reason why you see other fights is because like they're dramatic, they change, and the battle could go either way in some ways. You know, narratively, I think some battles are going to be like, of course, like I think Gojo had to die for the series to put himself in that perspective to help the students, so they can like be, because he's not the main, he's already an adult. What he can do is like unlimited. Of course, he'd be Sukuna, then everybody wins and no one grows basically. But he dies, everybody grows, everybody expands, everybody becomes something better. His death was pivotal for like the series to even move into the state where it can be in this calm, relaxing way. And the society of the same thing, of the same nature, had to be changed. Fundamentally, it was underbellied and corrupt and disgusting. And it used the young too many often as like a pedal for the old to keep their own regime power. And when the young are like the best and brightest of the future, we need them to create and cultivate a future, just like in real life. We need our young to be bright, smart, and intelligent, and also take on the world. We need to give them as much as possible, as many resources as possible to like expand themselves and expand society, because this is their future too. Our future, we already made like our, as an adult or like as a late adult, I would say like you want that for your children anyway, but also like for society. Like I would say that's like the best you can do as a person, is to cultivate for the next generation, you know, so they have a shade to grow under and they can plant more trees in a way. And I think JJK ending symbolizes that in a lot of ways. Maybe not satisfying like for some people, but like still awkwardly. Even like this whole mentality, just like Yuji's like whole thing was like funny. It's like the guy's like, oh, like they catch the curse. The guy that doing like all the miscellaneous adventure. Like, really, man. And also you acknowledge you messed up and all that matters. Take some time to reflect, and you know, help us on our next time. You know, I'm expecting great things from you. I'm expecting you to be forward and go beyond. It is not the opposite. I'm not demonizing you just because you made a mistake or you become one bad person or you had one bad day and that just makes you do some crazy shit. You're still a demon. You're still redeemable. You're still human, and you don't want to disregard that fact ever. So I love JJK for sure. This ending is bittersweet and it's really sad to see it go. But there's so many other mangas and things that are going right now. Hopefully Gege Akutami makes another manga. I would love to see other works from her, from them. Honestly, I would read it to see what's he trying to say. I think JJK was a standalone. I think this was like, as a first manga, this is like a booming success. Holy shit. People can be disappointed about it for sure, but I think I think you weren't really reading the context of like some of the subtext the characters were given. I think you were feeding into like the leaker's fantasy, which is the one thing that that makes the leaking bad. It's like that, yeah, like we're lit. But hey, also, you know, that's just my interpretation. I think you should also read it and see how you feel about it. And I'm welcome to discuss any like topics or things people want to talk about in the comments about like JJK, or like how they felt with the ending, or like how it got to this space. I feel like everything has like its own valid critique. Of course, I have some critiques of my own. Just saying some things how the speed of things which are written and how they are really interpreted. But at the same time, hey, tell me how about it. Let's start a conversation. Let's see if we can go further, go beyond. You know, the ball's in our court. Basically, is the ending saying it's like, hey, you do what you want with this. I did my best. I tried my best, and like I said, endings are always hard in manga for anything, especially because deadlines, people, and expectations are something you always have to worry about. And also like narratively, how do you thematically make this satisfying for people? I think as a series, I think this is satisfying for me. This is one of the best endings I've ever read. That's very hard to even say. Like the best ending I've ever seen is fucking Full Metal Alchemist, but that's why it's my top. I don't think anything will ever really. Maybe something in the future will, but like for now, I've never read anything that really gives me that much satisfaction when at the ending of a series where everything just meshed completely, and I feel like I've been immersed, and I just get a sigh of relief. It gives me like a sigh of like, damn, it's over. Next chapter. But that gave me like a fulfilling one. This is fulfilled and satisfied in different ways. But yeah, I loved it. Let me know about your comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. And you know, see you in the next one, gang. We got more videos coming out. Yeah. Also, I gotta get to work soon. I'm fucking tweaking. I'll record this way too late. I need to get a thumbnail. All right. See you later. Bye.
He's the one for me. There's no place I'd rather be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To the finish line. Everywhere you look, he's right on time. With a silent stare, racing through the open air.